Today we're making a Bailey's burnt Basque cheesecake. This is a festive twist on the classic Spanish cheesecake. It doesn't have a base, but it's just pure cheesecake filling with a caramelised crust. There's a generous amount of Bailey's liqueur in the batter, plus it's incredibly creamy and perfect for Christmas. Here's how we make it. So first we need to line an 8-inch springform tin. Make sure to use a springform tin as it will make taking the cheesecake out a whole lot easier. So lining the tin's super easy. We tear off a large piece of baking parchment, scrunch it up and then press it into the tin. The cheesecake will rise in the oven as it bakes, so we need to make sure that there's some parchment overhanging the edge of the tin. So once that's done, we're going to place the tin onto a baking tray and then set it aside for now. You'll also need to preheat an oven to 220 degrees Celsius or 428 degrees Fahrenheit. Then it's on to the cheesecake batter. So to the bowl of a stand mixer, we're going to add 560 grams of full fat cream cheese, that's at room temperature. 240 grams of Creme Fraiche, that's also at room temperature. 230 grams of caster sugar. 2 teaspoons of a good quality vanilla paste. And half a teaspoon of fine sea salt. Next we're going to use the paddle attachment to mix the batter on a low speed until everything's combined and smooth. We don't want to incorporate too much air into the batter, so it's important to mix it on a low speed for no more than 2 to 3 minutes. We also need to scrape the sides of the bowl down regularly with a spatula so we get an evenly mixed batter. So next I've got 220 grams of whole eggs, which is 4 large eggs, plus 2 additional yolks. So we need to crack these into a bowl and lightly beat them with a fork. Then with the mixer still running on a low speed, we're going to gradually mix in the eggs. Make sure to add them in a little bit at a time so that they incorporate properly. Then once all the eggs have been added in, we're going to give the bowl another quick scrape down with a spatula. Then we're going to give the batter another quick mix. We're only talking another 30 seconds or so on a low speed. Next we're going to add 30 grams of cornflour into a bowl or a jug. Then gradually whisk in 250 grams of double or heavy cream to make a thick paste. You don't want to over whisk the cream, but it should be as smooth as possible. The mix should look something like this. So next we're going to turn the mixer back onto a low speed and then gradually add in the cornflour and cream mix. Once all the cream's been added in, we're going to pour in 150 grams of Bailey's, with the mixer still running on a low speed. Then we're going to give the sides of the bowl another quick scrape down with a spatula. Then we're going to give it a quick final mix just to make sure that the batter is nice and smooth. Just try not to do what I'm about to do. So now that our batter's ready, we're going to pour it into the tin that we prepared earlier. Just in case there's any lumps, we're going to pour the batter through a sieve. This step's easier if you've got someone else that can hold the sieve for you. Next we're going to give the tin a couple of firm taps on the work surface just to pop any bubbles. Then we're going to bake the cheesecake in the preheated oven for 40 to 45 minutes until the top is a deep brown colour. The cheesecake will still be jiggly in the centre, but don't worry if the top looks burnt, it's meant to be this way. The best way to check if your cheesecake's fully cooked is to take the internal temperature with a food probe. We're looking for the middle of the cheesecake to be between 60 degrees Celsius and 65 degrees Celsius. I like my cheesecake to have a softer set, so I cook it to 60, but for a more evenly set cheesecake, cook it closer to 65. Now that our cheesecake's cooked, we're going to let it cool to room temperature and then refrigerate it for at least 12 hours. The cheesecake rose in the oven, but it will sink back down as it cools. When you're ready to serve your cheesecake, you'll need to take it out of the fridge and let it sit at room temperature for an hour. This will give your cheesecake a softer, creamier texture. Then we're going to take it out of the tin and unwrap the baking parchment. It'll be difficult to take the whole cheesecake off the baking parchment, so we'll cut it into portions with it on. So the best way to cut a Basque cheesecake is to dip your knife into hot water and then dry it off between cuts. This way you'll get the cleanest slices, and a non-serrated knife works best. And that's how to make a Bailey's burnt Basque cheesecake. In my opinion, you don't need to serve this with anything, as it's really good on its own. Plus it'll keep in the fridge for up to 3 days, so you can make it a few days ahead of time. For the full written recipe for this cheesecake, and loads more Christmas recipes, head over to my blog saltbuttersmoke.com. And if you've enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next week for another recipe.